sitting here to please read along at some point. I would appreciate it. The people I have to. I really regret being here this evening, having to do this, because first of all, when I saw it, Allison sent me an email and she said to me, I put you on the agenda for 10 minutes for your FOIL request. I said, well, FOIL request is pretty straightforward. I don't know, what I would do for 10 minutes, because it's not going to be my presentation. I spoke with Mr. Heisler, and after Slash has come in, at some point we'll do a ProGas presentation. Well, so then I found out I did have something to talk about the FOIL request. On March 22nd, after the last meeting, I had delivered my request to Allison, and I got a reply from her on March 29th at 3:46 p.m. But not until she had responded to my request by contacting someone else. So I suppose she contacted the town supervisor. Mr. Heisler, when did you hear about the FOIL request? Were you on vacation?
No, I think we heard about that. Maybe it was. Yeah, I think it's probably it was.
Okay. Well, I got an email forwarded to me from someone who I can only assume is a mutual friend. And I have a dated and timed email on the first page. That's the one I'm referring to. And I'd like to read it quickly. This was written by Annie Lanahan, alias Carol Omeliev, and it's addressed to everyone. And the everyone she refers to are the petition site.com, statewide ban on natural gas drilling, sustainable Otsego, the petition statewide ban on natural gas drilling again, Rise Up, sustainable Otsego, and another list, 5 different lists for sustainable environmental groups that she sent us to. And it says, hi everyone, please pass this on to people who might have an answer to this. Sue Dorsey, Vice President of CNYLC, there is no such organization, is from my town. She has put in a request for all correspondence around hydrofracking that the town has sent or received since 2009. We submitted a ban petition, which has 515 names, addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers. This makes me fearful for the people who signed. I am not sure how many of you know Dorsey, but she is not fun. Does anyone know if the town clerk has to give her a copy of the ban petition? I'm very concerned for the people who signed. Too much personal information for this intense woman to have. Could you pass this on to people who might know, please? Or maybe you know of a town that's already had this experience. Thanks, Annie. And then that, as you see, was on the 27th at 7:30 in the morning. And on the 29th, Thursday, at 3:46 in the afternoon, I got a reply from Allison about my FOIL request. And so that's on page 2 that I handed you. My question to the board is, if no other FOIL requests have been submitted in the month since the last meeting, then why does Annie Carroll even know that I put one in? And what's more than that, she knows what information I requested. Her email even states the time frame that my request covers. Why does she know about it before the town clerk bothered to respond to me? Did Allison and Annie Carroll decide between them what should be released, what should be considered public or confidential? Did Allison then present that recommendation to Supervisor Heisler, who was away, as I understand it, for his stamp of approval? It sure looks that way from here. Only Mr. Heisler knows the chronology, because the emails that's been decided by someone are off limits to me unless screened by, guess who? Annie Carroll's friend Allison. Members of the town council should demand to see that chronology with their own eyes. And you may want to ask a few questions of Mr. Monaco also. I've been advised by my attorney as follows. Information, page 3, about the people who signed the petition should not be withheld. Personal information can be withheld if it would constitute an unwarranted invasion of privacy. However, in this case, no one who signs a petition has an expectation of privacy. Everyone signed knowing it would be presented in a public manner to the board. So the subject of the email from Annie Carroll to her anti-gas development cohorts in her email states that she's attempting to block release of the petition to me. Isn't it enough that she's trying to usurp my property rights to develop my own natural resources? Now she wants to take away my right to freedom of information also. And Annie Carroll wants to prevent me from exercising my right to public information because she's so fearful and concerned for the people who willingly signed the petition. Yet, she has no compunction about spreading innuendo, derogatory remarks about me to all of the members of all the many organizations listed at the end of her email. What a surprise! The town clerk was complicit in this. She did not, in fact, give me the petition, though it was clearly covered by my request. She states in her response to my FOIL request that physical email mailing addresses will not be released to me. Yet my request was relayed to my opponent without a FOIL request. When a person signs a petition, complete contact information to the town board or any other governmental agency, they do so with full knowledge beforehand that it will be presented to the board and thereby becomes public information. The only way it's permissible to redact information in a FOIL request of the person's information was incidental to the matter being discussed. However, the 515 names, addresses, and phone numbers are the matter at hand. Are they registered voters? Do they reside in this town? Do they own property here? And I did not receive them because of collusion between the town clerk and a partisan in this debate that has been given graciously a fair and balanced hearing in the town of Smithville. There's something rotten here, and it has been for a long while. A little history. When I first mentioned gas development to Allison a year ago, she asked me if I knew Carol O'Meara, and she was surprised I didn't. Of course, I knew her by her alias, Annie Lenahan. When on the town's board's agenda, 3/21/11, March of last year, there was an FYI bullet point, the town of Acton's position on gas drilling. And I have that minutes here from that meeting. I only have one copy of it. The last page, there's a bullet point, town of Acton's position on gas drilling. So I said, what is that? She said, somebody submitted an article about Acton's position on gas drilling. So I said, find it for me, I'd like to see it. She said, fill out a FOIL request. I did. What I was given back was something about Acton's road use law. As a result, I FOILed it, and the result was that someone had construed and interpreted the Acton Town Board meeting for their road use law as a position on gas drilling. Because the law was flawed and was subsequently repealed for being discriminatory, the transparent message here is that the FYI was for the board to understand that Acton is anti-gas. And that isn't and never was the truth. So my question about that last year was, who gave this bullet point the title of Acton's position on gas drilling when there never was any document by that name? Well, it was Allison who got the information from Annie Carroll. And I allege this has been ongoing ever since the first mention of the two, and since the first time that anyone on the town board has heard the topic of natural gas come up in this hall. And I insist that it comes to an end. We need to do some spring cleaning in Smithville and let in a little summer. This is illegal. And I against the resident and against me. The semblance of impropriety is as damaging as what actually went on here. I sent 2 emails to the board a couple of weeks ago, and I was admonished by the clerk not to make a habit of it. Look at the thickness of that binder, 4 inches of FYI emails from the other side of this fair and balanced presentation. I'm not going to flood you with the emails on this. I have no intention of doing that. But are we going to be able to continue a fair legal debate on this topic in Smithville? I don't think so. I have well-founded doubts. And therefore, I respectfully request that you adopt a resolution similar to the last page in your handout that says, let's wait for the state experts to do a job, define the role of the townships, and hopefully by that time in Smithville, there will be truth and justice for all citizens, not just the squeaky wheels, and not those who seek to steal rights away from their fellow neighbors and citizens. Thank you.